The digital color wheel assignment will teach you a lot of different things and different adjustments and tools in Photoshop. It's a really great starting place to start designing in Photoshop and learning Photoshop. And this is one of the examples of the digital color wheel. On the Google Classroom assignment, it gives you all the learning goals. You're going to learn how to open and save as a PSD file. We'll talk about what that means. Finding an image with transparency or turning it into an image with transparency, opening that in Photoshop, how to duplicate layers. You're going to learn how to transform layers, size and angle. You're also going to learn how to adjust colors of a layer using the hue, saturation, and color balance. And then you will also learn how to export your work, which is also different than just saving. So it says, first step, find an image on Google Images or Pixabay that you'd like to duplicate within your color wheel. The image must have color, so black and white or gray images will not work. Make sure the image has a transparent background and that you can save it as a PNG. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to open up Pixabay and we're going to look for an image. Now, you can look for just about anything. I was looking at cute little mushrooms. And when you type in mushroom, you're going to get a variety of results, right? Some of these are AI generated, some of them are photos. I'm going to go up here where it says all images, and we're going to choose illustrations. You could also choose vectors and see if that works. Again, we're looking for color images, and we're looking for something with transparency, but I'll talk about what you can do in case you don't have an image with transparency. Now, what is transparency? This checkerboard background, when I click on that, this is transparency. That means that when I put it on whatever color background I want, it's not going to have any white or black around the outside edge. It's just transparent, okay? So this is transparency. The checkerboard background represents transparency. So this would work, and this image has color to it. I'm going to go back here. This one down here does not. However, we can delete that really easily because it's just a solid color. And I'm actually going to use this one as an example. We're going to go ahead and download this. So I'll click on the download button, and you can do either of these two. I would do the smaller size. You don't need the really large size because we're going to keep it pretty small anyways. So you don't need to sign up for an account. You just go ahead and download that. Then we'll go back to Google Classroom, and we're actually going to download this template. So click on the template. We're going to do these three dots in the upper right hand corner, open a new tab. And we're going to press the download button, which is right over here. And all this does is it helps us with rotating the angles and making sure we have all of the right colors. Now we can go into Photoshop, and we're going to go to open, and we will open up that template, and it's going to look something like this. Now, our layers are down here. Go ahead and click on your layers. We want to pay attention to our layers here. If you don't see your layers, you can go to Window and then Layers or F7 on the keyboard. And I downloaded that image. I'm going to show you how to delete the background if you don't have a transparent image. If you already downloaded an image that has transparency, this doesn't really apply, but it's good to know. So right here at File and then Place Embedded, I'm going to find that little mushroom. We're going to place it right there. Now it's really large. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and you are able to scale it down if you want to or if you need to. I want it to fit fairly easily within each wedge of my color wheel, which in this case it fits kind of in between those boundaries. I think that looks good. Now I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better here using the zoom tool. Scroll up a little bit, and we have all this white here, though we want to get rid of the white border around the outside of the mushroom. So over here, and you might have to right click on the eraser tool, over here is the magic eraser. And if I go ahead and I just click in that space, first of all, it's a smart object, and it says must be rasterized before proceeding. Essentially, it just means we need to turn this into a normal layer. So just click OK, and then click the white area again. There's a little bit of a white area in between the mushrooms here too. And now, since I've clicked and removed that, that's a really quick way to remove the background. Now this typically only works well when you have a solid color. You don't want to have a bunch of stuff in the background. Like if you have a photo and there's a bunch of random colors and things in the background, that's not really the best tool to use. But because it's a solid color, this works really well. So here we have our first mushroom here, and I could go ahead and double click on this and rename it. I'm just going to call it mushroom. Okay. We are going to need to duplicate this layer 11 more times because we have 12 colors in the color wheel, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So either you can go to or right click and go to duplicate layer, or you can do Control J on the keyboard. And I'm going to do this 11 times. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I was just clicking on the keyboard there. And they're all on top of each other. That's why I can't see them. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag them around. Drag them to each kind of corner. I'm going to try and keep it so it's not covering up my angles. Here we go. And you want to duplicate them first. You don't want to, duplicate and then try and rotate and then duplicate and then rotate again. You want them all to be the same direction, basically. Okay, so here they all are. This one, it says 0 degrees. You don't have to do anything to this one. We're just going to leave this one as is. We're just going, we will change the color, but we're going to just leave the angle as is. For this one, it says 30 degrees. And in this case, you might have to go to Edit, Transform, and then Rotate in order to get your rotation options up. Sometimes you can also click on Properties, and that will also give you those transform options. Not always, but sometimes. So we'll go up here and we're going to go to 30. I'm going to type in 30, and it has rotated at 30 degrees. Now the reason we're doing these angles is because we want it to be rotated specifically, in a very specific angle. We don't want to just like do this and try and guess. We want to make sure that it's the right angle. So again, we have this one selected. We're looking for this little angle icon. We're going to click on the 60. There we go. This one, we're going to do 90. All right. We could just do it over here too. So 90, hit enter. So you'll find very quickly in Photoshop, there are usually multiple ways to do something, and that's really common in graphic design anyways. Here's 150, and this one right here is 180. And so sometimes it'll be off to the side here, sometimes it'll be at the top. It doesn't really matter, it's kind of whatever works and kind of how you have Photoshop set up. Now this one, pay attention, it is negative 150, so we're going to have to do a negative here, minus 150. There we go. This one is minus 120. Just make sure you put that minus in there, otherwise it's going to look the same as the one on the other side, and we don't want that. Minus 90. This is kind of a fun math thing. Minus 60, and the last one, minus 30. Now they all should be rotated. They look great, and we're ready to change the color now. Eventually we will delete this template, by the way. I know it looks kind of ugly in the background, but we are going to change the color, and here you can kind of use the guide here where it tells you the color name to help you, with changing that color. Something else that you might find you need, which I just did, if you make a mistake or you need to go back, you can do Edit, Undo, or you can also just do Control Z on the keyboard, and that will fix your problem. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on the mushroom. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Hue, Saturation, and we're going to do this for each one individually. We might even use a little bit of color balance here, and we're going to drag this hue bar. We're looking for red, so I want it to be as red as possible, and I understand I have some different colors in here. Like I will have probably a mix of red and green for sure. Let's go right about here. And I could also do colorizing if I want to just make it all one color. And that actually might be what I'll do. That's pretty red. I'm going to play with the saturation though. Let's bring that saturation up. We want a nice bright red. Awesome. You could play around with the lightness and darkness. I don't mess around with that too much. Like you wouldn't want to go so high that you can't see it anymore or so low that it's just black. So, if you do adjust that, just do a small adjustment on that. I'm just going to turn that back to 0. Okay, we're going to click OK. All right, next one is red-orange. So go ahead and click on that one. Image, Adjustments, Hue, Saturation. And I'm going to do Colorize again since I did it for the other one. And we're looking for a red-orange. I'm going to increase the saturation here. And we're looking for it to be a little more orange. We would still want it to be different from red, but we don't want it to be a pure orange. That's probably pretty good. Click OK. Next one, click on that. Hue, saturation. So you'll see very quickly it's very repetitive. A lot of things in design actually are very repetitive anyways. Now I'm going to look for a regular orange. So not red. Kind of just want a regular orange here. That's good. All right, and so on and so forth. So I'll go ahead and just continue on here. I'll probably try and speed this part up because it gets very repetitive, but you'll see it's just very back and forth, and you get really good at making those adjustments. Okay, We have all of our colors changed now. Now it's all about lining them up. We want them to look nice, and the template's going to help with that. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag my mushroom to so it's right on the edge of that circle. I'm going to do it for all of them. I'm going to try and line them up in the same way as I can, just to kind of even them up. And you can use these pink little, as you drag, you can kind of see these pink guides it gives you. Those can kind of help you with lining everything up. It doesn't always work, but I found for this it usually works pretty well. Just kind of lining it up on that line. Oh, keep grabbing that by accident. So again, you can do Control Z if you make any mistakes or you need to make any undos. And I'm going to show you how to delete that template layer. It'll look a lot neater. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my layers here, and if you need to, you can pull this up a little bit. I'm going to turn off layer 1, which is the template layer, and now we can just see our color wheel. Notice we have a transparent background. We actually want to add a different background. So we're going to go into the little plus sign down here, and I'm going to drag this down. So layer 2, we want it below everything. And you may have to right click where the gradient tool is. Right click, you can find your paint bucket. Right now I just have white selected. If I just go ahead and click, it's going to give it a white background. If you want a black background, you could do something like that, or a gray background. I wouldn't do probably a color just because that can kind of clash with the color wheel. I think honestly white works pretty well here. So I'm just going to fill that in as white. And now as a bonus, if you want to, you could also do the tints and the shades of these of the colors. I'm going to show you a really cool way to combine layers and do this really quickly. So tints and shades, we're talking about the color plus white, which is a tint, and the color plus shade, or the color plus black, which is a shade. So a tint of red, so if you take red and white, that would be pink, right? And if you take red and black, that would just be like a dark red or a maroon. So all colors have tints and shades, and you can do that easily in this digital color wheel in a really quick way. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So first of all, we have the first mushroom copy here. That's going to be the red one here. I'm going to highlight that layer. I'm just clicking on it. I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to hold Shift on my keyboard, holding Shift, and then clicking. And this is going to select all of these layers. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click with my mouse. So right click, we're going to say Merge Layers. So now, and I can't move these layers independently anymore. Now they're all on one layer. If I click on the little eye icon and I go ahead and I grab them, they're all merged together. They're pretty much set, okay? So only merge them if you know for sure you're done editing them individually. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do Control J, or again, you can do edit, or not edit, right click, duplicate layer. Control J is just a lot faster. And I have this duplicate. I'm gonna actually make this a little smaller now, and we're gonna like basically, what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to do Control Z on that. We're going to hold Shift as I click and drag so it doesn't change the ratio. There we go. All right, so there's that one. Let's go ahead and name this one Tints. And then I'm going to do another one. We can right click and do Duplicate Layer or Control J. And this one, I'm going to hold Shift. We're going to click and drag again. This one's going to be my shades. Let's see if I can kind of center that. Sometimes it's a little tricky to center. I'm going to hold Shift again. Let's make it a little smaller. And you can also use the arrow keys to kind of adjust there. That's pretty close. Okay, and then let's call this one Shades. Okay, with tints, we're just lightening things up. So select the tints layer. We're going to go to Image Adjustments. Now in this case, you could just go to Hue Saturation and increase the lightness, and that would essentially be a tint. You could also go into Image Adjustments, Levels, or Brightness and increase the brightness a little bit. Sometimes that helps. I sometimes lower the contrast a little. I'm going to do a few different ones just to kind of show you how that works. Let's go to Levels, bump that up a little bit. I don't want it to be too bright though. Yeah, let's actually do Adjustments, Hue Saturation. We'll just increase the lightness a little bit. There we go. All right, and then the shades, we're going to darken it. So we're going to take that one, go to Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation, and we're going to just darken it a little bit. So now you have the bonus points. You have the shades, you have the tints, and you have the hue, which is on the outside. That's just the pure color. Now we need to know how to save it. I'm going to zoom out so you can see the whole thing. Awesome, looks good. Feel free to add your name or something or add some extra decorations, but this is all I'm expecting you to turn in. And you don't have to have the tints and shades. The colors are the only thing you actually need, but for a couple extra bonus points you get that for doing tints and shades. Now when we are saving, let's say you're not done with it yet, you're going to go to File, Save As. We'll just call it Color Wheel. We'll get rid of this. We're going to save it as a PSD, which is the Photoshop file. I like to save in my downloads, but you could save in a folder of your choosing. Click Save and then click OK. Now this is a PSD file. That means I can come back and edit the layers. If you're done, you should still save it, but you're also going to export it. So you're going to go to File, Export, and then I usually just do Quick Export as PNG. I think in the assignment I say JPEG, but I don't really care either way. It can be a JPEG or PNG. Saving in my downloads, I'll click Save. Okay, I'm going to show you the difference here. I'm going to open up that the PNG. So File, Open. Here's the PNG. See how it doesn't have any layers? It's because everything's flattened. It's an image now. It's no longer a Photoshop file. PSD is a Photoshop file. That lets me keep changing the layers. I can still do some editing. But over here, I can't really. I mean, I could like cut things out and try to edit it, but the layers are not independent of each other, and that makes it a lot more difficult to edit. So that's an important point in Photoshop. Layers really make a difference, and you want to make sure you're saving things according to what you need them to be. So always save as a PSD regardless, even if you are done, so you have something to go back to in case you need to make any corrections or changes. Maybe you missed something, and you'll want to make sure that you have that copy. This is the copy you're going to turn in. So the PNG, when you go to Google Classroom, you will go to Add or Create. You'll go to File, and then you'll find your image file. And these are all the requirements here. I kind of already went through everything, but if you have any questions, feel free to call me over and I will do my best to help you out.